Alrighty, good afternoon and welcome to VIOC In Action, the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee radio show where we keep the community informed and all the happenings of the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. And being 2016, we all know what's going on. Definitely is an Olympic year. So Team ISV, that's the Virgin Islands squad, everyone working hard to qualify for the game, and not just qualify, to go to the game and make a respectable showing. So VIOC in action. This is where you get all the information. And if this 1 hour is not enough for you to pretty much get caught up, there are other avenues, ways for you to get information, and we're all about getting you that information. So if you need to get more information on the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, feel free to give us a call in the office during office hours at 340-719-8462. 340-719-8462. And of course, it is that state in our lives where everything is accessible immediately. Social media, you got your computer, you got, of course, the big I word, the internet. You can always go to the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee's website at www.virginislandsolympics.org. And we're constantly trying to stay abreast with our federations who will give us information that we could post, keep you abreast of what our athletes and the federations are up to. So we're always working to get information to place on the website so everyone can have a chance to basically follow what's going on. Not only do we have information on our website, but for those of you Facebookers who find your information via that social media outlet, you can always check us out at www.facebook.com/Virgin Islands Olympics. And then you pretty much get a link to the website, get the information that you need. You can also send us an email at NOC, November Oscar Charlie, at VirginIslandsOlympics.org. VirginIslandsOlympics.org. NOC at VirginIslandsOlympics.org. Get us that information. And for those of you out there on the Twitterverse, you can send us a tweet at Team ISV. Many ways for you to keep abreast as to what's going on with our VIOC. So this is just one of the many avenues that we have for you to be able to keep up with what's going on with the VIOC. That is, of course, the charge given to members of the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee by the president, Mr. Angel Chico Morales. He wants all Virgin Islanders to pretty much be aware, know what's going on, be able to say, hey, this is what's going on. And if the federations have information they want put out, they can most definitely use this medium as well to get information up there. And we're on the hunt constantly trying to find out what our federations are up to, because we always want to know what is going on with our athletes who are across the globe. You better believe it. We are not just hanging around here in the Virgin Islands. As you know, to be an elite athlete, you have to train in venues that are not always available in the USVI. Hey, some of them ain't even available in the United States. So that's just to give you an idea that the training, for sure, it is constant and it definitely is global. our athletes go far and wide to get their training done, and that's a matter of necessity because it's a it's a fight. It's a fight to be an elite athlete, and that's the whole point about it is being elite athletes for VIOC. So stay tuned. We're going to bring you all information you need. Today's episode, we're going to get you a statement, a recording that was done by one of the professors who studies Olympism. And he has a very interesting view on how Olympism is seen, by the majority of people, by young folks, and wants to spread the word and clearly define certain segments as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break and get our few commercials out of the way, and then we'll be right back. You are listening to the VIOC in Action. That's right, VIOC in action, giving you the information about Olympics, the Olympic movement, Virgin Islands athlete, the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, the Virgin Islands Sporting Federations, all that you can get here. And if you are a member of a federation and you're not hearing your information here on the show, hey, give a call to your president or send us an email at noc@virginislandsolympics.org and tell us you want to be part of the show. Tell us you're available and we'll get you scheduled. And as promised, I told you, I'm going to give you an excerpt of a speech from Dr. Jim Perry about Olympism. So let's do that now. Let's go into this speech so we can be informed by the good Dr. Jim Perry.
Because you know it already. Okay. Sometimes I work in schools, sometimes with very small children, on Olympic ideas. And I ask these children to tell me what they think about 3 ideas. The first one is Olympic. I say to them, what do you think of when somebody says the word Olympic? This is what the kids get. They know it's a 2-week festival of sport. It's not like the championship in any sport, which lasts a longer period of time, a season, right? It's 2 weeks. Secondly, they fully understand it only takes 4 years. Especially British kids know this now. Very young British kids know this because we had 2012. And they knew the previous one was 2008. And the next one's going to be in Rio in 4 years' time. They know that. And they know that it's about elite athletes. They know it's about the very, very, very best in the world. They understand that. Oh, except in football, where they don't send their very, very best, do they? They send it, right? Think about that. If the Olympic Games is supposed to be about the very, 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 very best, they should ban football at the Olympic Games because Blatter wants FIFA to have the World Cup, right, as its primary event. If the primary event is not at the Olympic Games, that's a good argument for getting rid of football out of the Olympic Games. But anyway. They know, and I'm a footballer. Oh, no, I was many years. So it's between the elites and it's intercommunal competition. Everybody understands that it's flags and countries and so on, and that you're representing in the ancient times, you're representing your city-state. In the modern times, you're representing your country. So very small kids get this. They've got an idea of Olympic. They know what it is. So I say the next word is Olympiad. Right. What is Olympiad? And they nearly all get it wrong. They don't know what an Olympiad is. Some of them say it means an Olympic athlete is an Olympiad. Or some of them say it's one edition of the Olympic Games, like the London Olympiad. Right. And it's not. You'll know, of course, already, being students of the Olympic movement, you will know that an Olympiad is a 4-year period. An Olympiad is a calendar term. It refers to a 4-year period during which a Games might be held or not be held. So you'll know that the London Games are not properly referred to as the 30th Games, but as the Games of the 30th Olympiad, because the Olympiad exists whether or not the Games exist. And 4 times in the 20th century, due to world wars, we've not had 3 times we've not had Olympic Games. So it's the 27th Games, but the Games of the 30th Olympiad. You'll know that already. And then I ask them, what about Olympism? So Olympic, Olympiad, Olympism. They never heard of it. They never heard of it. I do work in universities with students, usually with students of physical education, sport, and exercise science, this kind of area. Sometimes I work with other groups of students, but usually it's with sport and PE type students. They don't know either. Isn't it amazing that you've got these people whose profession is supposed to be in the area of sport, and they know nothing about Olympism? NOCs, what are you doing? NOCs, if you can't reach these people, right, you'll not reach anybody. These are the reachable people. These are the people who are committed already. These are the enthusiasts already, and they don't know. So NOCs, are you doing your job? That's my question. But what I try to do with the kids is to show them how they know what Olympic is, they understand what the Olympic Games is all about, and I try to contrast it. So, Olympic, 2 weeks, 4 years, elites, intercommunal. Okay? Olympism, not just the elite athlete. Olympism is about everybody. It's about sport for all, and it's about physical education in all schools. It's not just a short period, 2 weeks, but it's the whole of life. Olympism is a concept that applies to the whole of your life. So Olympism applies to me as an old guy as much as it applies to a kid in primary school. It's not just about competition and winning. It's also about the values of participation and cooperation. I can prove that, if you like. I mean, all of these propositions are just hot air coming out of my mouth, right? I've not substantiated any of these propositions. They're just assertions. You don't have to believe any of this stuff, right? But I believe I can substantiate them. Let me give an example. Why do I say that Olympism and engagement in sport generally is necessarily has the values of participation and cooperation? Well, it's because you can't have a game without the other person. You can't have a contest or a competition without the opposition. So before you can compete, you have to cooperate in the production of a social practice of a sport. There has to be such a thing as a sport, ongoing, cooperative enterprise, before you can compete in it. It's the cooperation that makes the competition possible. So in sport, everybody thinks, oh, sport is about competition and that's conflict and opponents and biting each other and stuff like that, right? I say no. In logic, cooperation comes first. So when Pierre de Coubertin says, it's not the winning, it's the taking part, he doesn't mean, people take him to mean the winning is not important. It's not important to win medals. He didn't mean that at all. He thought winning was very, very, very important. And he thought competition as a motivator for personal excellence and as a motivator towards physical education, competition was a very, very important thing. But he saw that cooperation was logically necessary. You have to have prior cooperation before you can have winners. 10,500 athletes at the Olympic Games. 10,500. How many gold medal winners? Does anybody know how many gold medals are up for grabs at the Olympic? 300? 400? I don't know. Let's say 500. If there are 500 gold medals or 500 medals available at the Olympics, 10,000 athletes get nothing, go home with nothing, right? Was it a waste of time? Is it a waste of time? Because, of course not. Why? Because it's a great triumph to be cooperating and participating in the Olympic Games. I missed the Olympic. I didn't get a chance to go. I missed out. What I would have given for the opportunity to go there. Huh? Never mind win, medals. Most athletes who go there know in advance they're not going to win. So why go? As de Coubertin said, it's not necessarily the winning, it's the taking part. The honor lies in the taking part. And without people who take part, you can't have winners. And not just sport as an activity. Olympism is not just about sport. It's about the values of sport. The values of sport as an educational and socially transformative influence. So it's the social and individual personal effects of sport that Olympism is concerned with. So just to say, just to wrap all this kind of stuff up, Olympism, in a few phrases, a universal social philosophy that emphasizes the role of sport in global development. You know, sport for peace and development, where does that come from? Originally, the motivation was Olympism. Sport for international understanding, you think that works? Sport for peaceful coexistence, you think that helps? Sport for justice, equality and fairness. Sport striking a blow for anti-discrimination, you think that works? I'm sure it does. Sport for social and moral education. Can sport be educationally useful? I think it can. And that's what Olympism says, okay? And this is not just hot air coming from my mouth, because I stole all of this, right? I stole all of this from other places and other people. And here's one source. Have you read it? Why not? You know you're here in the cradle of Olympism, and you haven't read the Olympic Charter yet. Read it today. You can download it off the internet. Read what the principles are supposed to be of this organization and all other Olympic organizations, because it's on a piece of paper.
And it's true. It's there. It's written. It's written information that's accessible. Again, if you want more written information about the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, when you go to virginislandsolympics.org, go through the different tabs, you'll find a wealth of information. Lots of information that should enlighten you as to how things work. And one of the efforts done by this present administration under the leadership of Angel Chico Morales, and it may have been started before, but they have set up pretty much a Virgin Islands Olympic Academy. And this is where the effort is out there to get everyone aware, let people know the different segments of the committee, different ways you can be educated and informed by all the happenings in the VIOC. And if you check out the Virgin Islands Olympic Academy, they tell you from the beginning, just take a look at our mission. And the mission for the Virgin Islands Olympic Academy is to provide Virgin Islanders with an understanding of the Olympic movement, while teaching lifelong positive Olympic values, learned through participation in sport. And movement, the Olympic movement is key because it is not just limited to the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. The Virgin Islands Olympic Committee is but a very small part of that global International Olympic Committee. And they too have the same strong beliefs. They need people to be to gain the lessons and the values that are available through, Olympism. Some of the values we talk about, the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, the Olympic Academy, believes in embracing the value of education. And this radio show is a part of that. It's a part of letting everyone know what's going on. There are things about many of the sports you don't know. Why would the Virgin Islands be involved in skeleton? Skeleton, of course, being racing down a downhill course on ice, an ice course on a sled. Why? It shrinks the globe for us. It gives us not just friends, but associations across the globe that allows us to be more well-rounded as a people. We can't stay on the island and remain here and do everything here. We do have to spread out and find out what else is going on. It also promotes the value of sport. And the value of sport comes in many ways, but you promote the value of sport. And if you think sport has no value, let's take a step down from Olympic movement. Let's take a step on something most of us are familiar with. Let's look at the NCAA, National College Athletic Association for the United States, which basically deal with the college athletics. This is the highest level, I believe, of college athletics. And all of the schools that participate with the NCAA are much, much stronger because of their Olympic involvement, their sporting involvement. Those schools have athletes in various sports, and those schools have youngsters that want to go to their school because they have a great rowing program. They have a great track and field program, great basketball program. And that's value in the sport. As one way that there's a tangible value in sport. We can look at the objectives of the Virgin Islands Olympic Academy. Their objective is to develop 7 Olympic solidarity programs used for the promotion of the Olympic values. The 7 programs would consist of the following: Sports for All, International Olympic Academy, Sports in the Environment, Women in Sport, NOC, Legacy, Culture and Education, and Sports and Medicine. And if you listen to those values, they pretty much tie into your life one way or the other. So, sports for all. That's how a major part of it. And if we have to break each segment down as far as the 7 values for the Virgin Islands Olympic Academy programs, it kind of goes something like this. The sport for all, right? The Olympic Day program that would take place on St. Thomas and St. Croix and St. John every year. It's just not a one-time thing. Every year, right around June 23rd for Olympic Day, it will consist of Olympism presentations and or demonstration along with a run. So now is a good time to start training for this run on June 23rd. That's Olympic Day, and we'll have different events for sports for all and just information, as I said, presentations and demonstrations. If we were to talk about the International Olympic Academy, now this is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. This academy educates some of the leaders in the community, in our community and across the globe, and it's a very it's in high demand. I mean, people really want to be a part of this, but it's not something that everyone can just grab and say, hey, I want to go. It's an application process, and the selection process is really tough. So it's part of it is if you want to get into this International Olympic Academy and the application selection process to attend all International Olympic Academy. It's big major training sessions, and you try to maximize the number of people who can participate, but the selection process is tough. Another section of one of our values in the Virgin Islands Olympic Academy is culture and education, and a key part of that is this very radio program, which of course promotes the value of sport. We also in the program will highlight the local athletes, the health benefits that you receive from sport. We'll every now and again throw in some local trivia for you and find some relevant Olympic topics leading up to the Olympic Games. And again, those games scheduled for August in Rio of 2016. Another one of our core values is women in sports, and we as the Olympic Committee wants to heighten the awareness for women in sport, through seminars focused on getting more women involved in sport, either as an athlete or involved in sports administration, and one of the big wigs for the VIOC is our office manager. Brigitte Berry does a fantastic job. Keep in order to, trust me, what is global chaos when it comes to organizing, scheduling, helping, planning, preparing, and it's a matter of major organization that the committee does not take lightly in any way and totally respects what she does. And we have some amazing athletes as well. And we, a lot of women feel that sports are stuff for guys, but trust me, there are women in sports out there making really major strides, setting history. We all know famous women in sports, so we just want more to be coming out of the Virgin Islands. Another part of our value system is the NOC legacy. It's to acquire Virgin Islands sports memorabilia from Virgin Islands Olympic Committee and Virgin Islands athlete, and develop sports library and or sports research center based on feasibility study. And 2016, I think, is about 50 years for the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, and we don't have a museum or any place where someone could just easily go and relive our history and visit in time some of the great accomplishments and how sport has changed, how our involvement has changed. So we'll get the legacy through acquiring and establishing different sports memorabilia. Lots of it out there, just need to bring it into one place. Sports medicine is another part of the value, and our athletes are true athletes as they, of course, stay away from any kind of artificial enhancement. We do it the old-fashioned way. We train hard, we work hard, and we prepare to compete the best. And part of sports medicine also involves anti-doping seminars for athletes and coaches, using World Anti-Doping Agency designed programs. And these programs, some of these programs will let you know that, things that you may think are okay is not things that you think are not okay. They're actually fine. So sports medicine is a great part of it, and it's today when everyone can simply, go over the counter and buy something to help you heal better, it might not be the best thing for you as an athlete. Especially when it comes to different anti-doping rules and stuff like that. And last but not least, a very important part is sports and the environment. The VIOC, every now and again, we're going to announce that there's going to be, a beach cleanup or something like that on St. Thomas and Croix, St. John. We're going to show the community that not only are our athletes doing their thing on the playing field or on the court, but as part of the community, they will spend their time volunteering and caring for the environment. So, the values are there. The Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, the Virgin Islands Olympic Academy is working to be more than just athletes. So, it is some great reading for you. So I think everyone should take the time and get on the Virgin Islands Olympics.org and find out more information about the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. So we'll take another break and we'll be right back.
This is Dr. Jerry Smith, physical therapist with the VI Olympic Committee. To unleash the elite athlete in you, the key ingredients are good nutrition, hard work, and dedication. Give yourself what you need to get in and stay in the game. Tune into VIOC In Action for tips and fun activities to unleash the elite athlete in you.
This is Mr. One Time for the One Time, Leon Hunt, long jump record holder for Team VI. Thank you for logging on to VIOC in Action.
And welcome back to VIOC in Action. I'm here, your host, Bobbie Thomas, just giving you some general information as stuff is going on in the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. And for those of you who don't know the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, we have quite a few federations. That's the term I'm going to use. We have some great athletes in varying sports, and they find a way to compete and be part of the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. And let me give you an idea as to the federations that are listed on our website. Most of them are active, and most of them competing in one manner or another. Just to quickly run through the list, we have archery, athletics, and in the Olympic world, that's like track and field. So athletics is track and field. We have baseball, we have basketball, bowling, boxing, chess, cycling, equestrian, fencing, golf, judo, sailing, shooting, and the shooting is not high-powered rifles. They're mainly like air pistols or rifles of a very, very, very small caliber firearm. We have soccer. We have softball, and the softball is both male and female. We have swimming, many different disciplines, taekwondo. We have tennis, triathlon, university sports, volleyball, winter sports. It's an entire segment by itself, of course, has many disciplines as well, and wrestling. So the federation has, the Olympic Committee has many federations, and there's something there for everyone. So take some time, go ahead and look through that kind of stuff, and you'll be amazed. Some pretty good information going on through the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. And there are, we have major players it goes without saying. You have the people that are involved and that are making things happen for the athletes, through their involvement, through their hard work. There's a lot going on for the Virgin Islands through their leadership, so it's stuff that people, you really can't grasp the value of what's going on, because you don't know what the people are doing. You don't see their work. You think a lot of these people just walked up and became part of the VI Olympic Committee, but it's far more than that. Let me give you, just for example, one of the great people involved with the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, and this is our Secretary General, Ms. Lynn Reed. And, see her along, very humble, always smiling, but is working tirelessly for the athletes, for everyone in the VIOC. So just give you a little bit of information. We've had the president on before. We've had one vice president in Anson Sligar. I don't think I've cornered our other vice president, Mr. John Abramson, yet. I got to squeeze him into a little corner and get him on the show. He has information that, I'm telling you, just him alone, Mr. Abramson alone could probably fill up several hours for VIOC in action. So that's something we need to do, is definitely get his voice on the show and have him speak with us for a while. So that's something we will have to definitely work on. But right now I was going to tell you a little bit of information about our Secretary General, Ms. Lynn Reed. Ms. Lynn Reed is a native of Detroit, Michigan, has been a resident of the Virgin Islands for almost 40 years now. She came to the Virgin Islands as a teacher first. She spent some time at Antilles School, and that's when, in teaching, she found out, hey, I can also help out with some coaching, and she coached the girls' volleyball, basketball, and the softball, all the varsity teams for the girls, and she served as the head of the lower school for Antilles for 5 years before taking on a challenge and an opportunity as she moved to the public school system. And she worked in the public school system, and she worked with those students that were visually impaired. But way back when, there was a medal winner from 1966, Mr. Rudy Thompson, reintroduced to Lynn to sailing. So when she got back to sailing, and she's in a perfect spot here in the Virgin Islands for that, of course, she kind of spent a lot of time in that community, and that became her passion. So she has been involved in sailing regattas all over the Caribbean as a competitor and as an organizer. She also represented the Virgin Islands in the first 2 Rolex J24 Women's World Championship, and has twice served as Commodore for the St. Thomas Yacht Club. She has been instrumental in bringing major sailing events to the Virgin Islands, such as the Nations Cup, match racing. That's a pretty big deal in the racing scene. Then began her time with the VIOC as a team leader for sailing at the 83 Caracas Pan Am Games. And she was part of the sailing delegation attending the 84 Los Angeles Olympics and 1988 Seoul, Korea. She was the sailing team leader when Peter Holmberg won a silver medal for the Virgin Islands in the laser competition. She was also part of the sailing delegation for 92 and 96 for the Barcelona Games in 92, and in 96 the Atlanta Games. She was also the chef de mission of the Sydney Olympic Games in 2000, and she has been on the VIOC Executive Committee, in different positions, and now she is our Secretary General, Miss Lynn Reed. It's pretty cool to have these members who for years have, they're working, they're doing their thing, and a lot of people may not know they're with Miss Reed on and off and have no idea that she's working so hard for the Olympic Committee. So that's just a little peep into her involvement with the VIOC. So, make sure when you see Miss Lynn Reed, you say, hey, didn't know you were doing your thing like that, and thank you for what you do for the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. Right now, let's take a break and hear a little bit about our moment in history. Hey, well, it's time now for VIOC Moment in History. In 1966, several sports-minded citizens of the Virgin Islands agreed that something had to be done to provide our athletes with a better chance to compete on the international level. The first requirement was to affiliate at least 5 sports to their respective international federations by convincing these international federations that their sports were active in the Virgin Islands and that our athletes could compete on a regional level. 6 sports affiliated: track and field, yachting, weightlifting, basketball, fencing, and volleyball. As a result of a major lobbying effort to the International Olympic Committee, the Virgin Islands was granted permission to participate on a trial basis in the 1966 San Juan Central American and Caribbean Games. Despite many difficulties, Carl Plaskett, Ivan David, Listen Sproul, Rudy Thompson, and John Hamber won medals. As a result, the Virgin Islands was granted full membership status in the International Olympic Committee. The Virgin Islands Olympic Committee was built on that auspicious beginning, and with the exception of the boycotted 1980 Olympics in Moscow, has sent a team to every Central American and Caribbean, Pan American, and Olympic competition since 1966. The Virgin Islands Olympic Committee's first Olympic medal was won in 1988 at the Seoul Olympics. The VIOC has grown from its original 6 federations now to 22. Virgin Islands is extremely grateful to the VIOC founders, Calvin Whitley, Julio Francis Edwards, Vern Colwood, Len Stein, Tracy Jackal, for having the foresight, courage, stamina, and determination to bring the Virgin Islands into the Olympic arena. This is your VIOC Moment in History.
Hey, this is Sydney Paul, member of the Virgin Islands National Bowling Team, and you're listening to VIOC in Action.
Welcome back to the VIOC in Action. Just a reminder, you can stay abreast of all that's going on through the VIOC, not only through this radio show, VIOC in Action, but social media and just contacting our office. And I want to remind everyone the office number, 340-719-8462, and those are regular office hours, weekdays 9 to 5. Along with that, you can check out the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee website at www.virginislandsolympics.org, www.virginislandsolympics.org. And if you want to send us an email, it's the same .org, but you send that to NOC@virginislandsolympics.org, NOC@virginislandsolympics.org. You can also check us out on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Virgin Islands Olympics. And again, the Twitterverse. The Twitterverse says you can reach us at Team ISV. You can get us there on Twitter. And again, from time to time, we're going to have where we give you that information. And, I'll have to call and see what's the latest, because, we always have specialty plates for each game. We can get you the license plates for your car, where they have games for plates for the different games. And I don't know if the one for Rio is out as yet, but those plates, a portion of those proceeds go to help out the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee. So we want to do that for you, give you that opportunity to support. And we have some pretty huge sponsors out there. We got to thank the sponsor. But if you know of anyone that's willing to work with the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, as I said, give us a call in the office at 340-719-8462. You know, my involvement with the Olympic Committee is very recent. My first taste of it was being a member of the Virgin Islands baseball team. We went to Maracaibo, Venezuela in 1998 and had some games down there. It was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool to participate in Central American and Caribbean games. And you kind of hope that everyone gets an opportunity like that to go there and participate, represent the Virgin Islands. You know, you should get at least one shot. Along with that, I was present when in Veracruz in Mexico, where the Taylor Canfield and his sailing team brought home the gold. Man, it was pretty cool. So it's really something to think of. It's an honor to be part of that. But it is pretty much that time where we wrap it up, and we will see you next week. So for VIOC in Action, this is Anthony Bobbie Thomas signing out, and I'll see you next week.
This is Angel Chico Morales, President of the Virgin Islands Olympic Committee, thanking you for joining us on VIOC in Action.